Good morning, everybody. This is Judith Echo. You're listening to Mad Love. Let's get into it. So I really don't have a lot to add today. I got great sleep last night. I'm super excited about that. Sometimes I can't get really good sleep unless I find a sleep aid. So it was nice to get good rest. And, I feel refreshed. And I still have a lot to do this week with my brother's things. And I can't stress this enough. We spend a lot of time worrying about all these things and frustrated by things and angry at people and mad. And it's just none of it is worth it, because at the end, none of that will matter. It just won't matter. You won't even remember why you were so mad. So if you're still alive right now and you have your health, you should thank God. And I mean sincerely, because I've watched 2 people die within the last 2 years. One had a horrible disease that she couldn't help that she got that. And one just neglected his body to death. And you can't do what you want to do and live. You can't eat what you want to eat and live. This food that they have out here that everybody's getting addicted to is poison. You just can't eat it. I know it looks good on the TV, and every time you see a commercial, you're like, Subway's healthy. Well, it's not. None of the stuff is healthy. If it was healthy, they wouldn't be producing it en masse like that. They're producing this stuff in great volume to go around the world. McDonald's has its own potato. And, it's genetically modified. Everything is not healthy. And the one thing about McDonald's is you could leave it in your car or your garage. One man on TikTok, he had left his hamburger. He bought it for the experiment of watching it not rot. And it's like a year old. One grandma even produced something that was like 10 years old. She was so proud, like, look at it. It's hard as a rock. Like, so what does that do in your body? If it doesn't break down, it's not real food, right? So what's it doing to your body? So every time you say, I'm just having a burger, or you do better go in and make your own hamburger with grass-fed beef. And yes, it's going to cost more. But the reality is you're either going to pay for food or medicine. And this food is designed to make you very addicted and very, very sick. And my brother fell right into that trap because he was completely addicted to all the worst foods. And he just loved them, So it's something to make note of. You got to pay attention to what you put in your mouth. And that doesn't mean you're going to wind up feeling deprived or you're going to lose a ton of weight or, if you don't want to lose weight. It really means that you're just eating high quality food. You can still overeat. I mean, that's not something you want to be striving for, but I've heard people say, well, I don't want to be, my mom, one time I forgot to put meat on her plate. We just didn't have a protein meal. And she was like, I ain't no vegetarian. And I'm like, I'm not trying to make you into a vegetarian. We're just eating something different that's more vegetable based instead of meat based. And she let me have it. But, you can eat high quality proteins. Just commit to spending good money on your food. And I would suggest not doing rash things unless you have this amazing ability to find protein where in every source, please don't give up meat. It's so important to our brain and to our muscles. And as we age, we need muscles because, that's what I learned. If you lose your muscles, you're going to lose the ability to do things like wash your hair or sit down in a chair or get up from a chair, and I know it's not sexy. I know I don't talk about things that make this podcast number 1 because I talk about things you need to know about. Not obsess about, just know about it. I watched my mom decline. And if you get a disease like Alzheimer's, your brain destroys your body. You could just see year over year the differences in her body, in her face, in her skin. She stayed pretty though. My mom was a pretty lady. And I don't think I ever acknowledged that. I guess because she was so narcissistic, it was no need for me to pile on. And she was so hard on everybody else. It was like, I didn't look at her and think she was pretty. But when she was aging and laying in the bed, and I'd be like, man, your skin is really pretty. And then by that point, she was like, I don't think so. But you got to take care of your health. And a big part of that is paying attention to what you eat, but also pay attention to what you put in your brain. You don't have to sit around and watch the CNN shit all day. I don't even think that's good journalism anymore. You know, you don't have to watch the wars and the fights and you don't have to be abreast of everything Trump is going to do. Because he a wild boy. He going to do something crazy. Yesterday, I did see somebody hacked. I don't know if this is true or not, because you know with AI, but somebody hacked Kash Patel's phone. And I know he's of a different culture, but them dance moves he was doing were, I'm sure he did not want the world to see him doing all that. I mean, it was lots of shimmying and lifting up his shorts like they were a skirt. And I get he's another cultural background, but it did not look like the display of masculinity I'm sure he would prefer. So, I don't know what's going on with these people. They're not serious people. We already knew that, though. But you gotta, not consume yourself with their every move, because that's not healthy. We don't know how this is going to turn out. And all I know is God is in control. And the more we elevate our vibration, pay attention to God, pay attention to how we feel, and just allow ourselves to count it all joy, that's what they don't want. That's what the demons and the evil people and the 1%, they don't want you to be happy. Listen, I'm going to give you an example. I've been more vocal about this because it really was preposterous what happened to me. But, like I told you yesterday, and I've told you some other times, I had a boss. He got elected and he won his election rando, was not qualified for the job, and was deeply insecure. And anybody who pointed out, like, you don't know this, or can I help you with this? He didn't take it as like help. He took it as insecurity and criticism. And one thing I would not allow is for him to think for a second that he got to me. So he started to demote me. He started to, everywhere I went, he took my office from the front hall, put me in the back. He didn't like that I still had a decent office. He moved me somewhere else. He made a moron my supervisor. And I mean, he was really, really rude and out of pocket, but no one could stop him because he was supposed to be this great savior. He was saving us from the racist guy who hired me and paid me well. He didn't pay great because he was old school, but he paid me I was making more than any non-attorney. I was of value to him. And then this guy comes in, that guy was supposed to be the racist. This guy comes in, and while we share the same race, he was more racist and misogynist to me than anybody, and it was horrible. But I would never, ever let him know he was frustrating me. Every time I saw him, I just smiled. And, I had to pray because I was like, God is doing the work in me because I wear all my emotions on my face. If I'm pissed, you're going to see it. And I just wouldn't give in. I wouldn't give in. And I did outlast him. And I will continue to outlast him because he would rather pretend to be a good person than actually be a good person. That is not a long-term strategy for success. So I'm saying all that to say, let it go. Whatever you're angry about, whoever you're angry with, it's in the past. If they're not sitting right next to you right now, it's over. It's gone. It's in the past. And that happened to you specifically for a reason. None of this is random. That's because when I say the prayer, I love you, God, I'm sorry I don't always recognize your love and divine orchestration over every moment of my life. When I start to feel like, why is this happening? Or what was going on? Or I immediately go, okay, this is not a surprise to God. This was what was meant to be. There is a lesson I'm supposed to learn, and I should be about the business of learning it. Otherwise, I'm going to have to keep repeating it. And I know that there are many of you who listen and you hold grudges and you stay mad. But I believe the key to freedom is forgiveness. Now, I don't care for this little man. He tormented me and he was a giant pain in the neck. And I don't care for him. But what I'm not is mad. I'm not mad. That was a lesson I was supposed to learn, obviously. That there are going to be people who don't like you for no reason, or they don't like you for reasons that have nothing to do with you. I trigger people. I get that. I'm very bright. I'm a smart person, and I don't say that in a braggy way. I am very, very intelligent. And I'm not just, I'm okay book smart, but I'm really emotionally intelligent. And that bothers people. And I'm spiritually intelligent. And that bothers people. So I trigger people. I can walk in a room and somebody who was calm is now completely enraged because I'm unbothered. I don't care what you think I should know about you. I can see the truth. And, I think that saved me in a lot of times, in a lot of situations. There were social situations I shouldn't have gotten out of. But because of my spiritual and emotional intelligence, I was okay. And there have also been times where I was spiritually protected. I get that, and I'm thankful for it. But I do trigger people, and I can make people very upset with me. And this dude just happened to enter my orbit, and he was just a tiny demon, a tiny chaos demon. And the world's going to find him out. I don't even have to use his name. The world will find him out. He's a fraud. And the more people get used to looking at people in your same political party or your same race, or they go to my church, or he's friends with my grandbaby. As soon as people stop getting past that kind of stuff and really start looking at folks, when they tell you they're a demon, when they show you they're demonic, you got to believe it. You got to believe it. People lie. In my job, my old job with the prosecutor's office, I was always a person who would be like, well, why would you do that? Why would you murder somebody? Like, I was always intrigued by the why. And a lot of times there isn't a good reason why. Most of the time there isn't a good reason why. There's no good reason to molest a child. Why would you do that? There's no good reason to murder your best friend. Why would you do that? People have done it. There's no good reason to get out of a police car, commandeer the officer's gun and shoot him in the head. There's no good reason to do that. But all those things have happened. And so, when people are trying to tell you things, you gotta also understand that they tend to lie. They lie and they don't have good reasons for things. And these politicians, they will lie straight to your face and feel no compunction about it. And you gotta be able to discern that. I think I'm probably done voting. I don't even believe it's real. I'm not suggesting anybody do what I do, but I bought the speech eventually. I didn't start off voting. I skipped a few elections. And then my sister made my uncle give me a speech, and I was like, that sounds fair. So I've been voting ever since, but I'm honestly to the point where I don't even believe it's real. I think they just tell you who they, especially the big ones, I think they just tell you who they want you to believe won. And they try to create a plausible scenario around that, because the polling for Hillary Clinton, who now I've been reading about her, and I recognize her involvement in some really nefarious things, and all these people who've died around the Clintons. I'm glad she didn't win, but let's be honest, the polling suggested she was going to win, and yet somehow we got Donald Trump the first time. And miraculously, somehow we got Donald Trump again. And I don't know what happened. It must have been a glitch, because Biden got in there and he was not better. But I was relieved because I thought, oh, we have a grown-up. He's going to handle COVID like a grown-up. And at the time I thought he did, but now I realize that was probably some sort of psyop, because they didn't know what they were doing, and you can't build a vaccine that fast. I think it was like a test run to see how many people would submit. And, I worked for a county government, so I had to I had to get the shot. They were making life miserable if you didn't. So wake up. Wake up. Use your brain. There are people out here who will smile and grin in your face. They've been bought off, and they are doing what's best for them, not you. And you get to decide how you want to handle that. I'm not telling anybody to agree with me or think like me. Do your own research. Google things. Google how many people have died around Bill and Hillary Clinton of quote unquote suicide or mysterious circumstances. Google it. Why are people giving Chile such a hard time for, I don't know, I'm not pro-Trump, but this whole notion that you're black and you have to be anti-Republican is ridiculous. I don't know why she would support Donald Trump, but she has the right to do that. Black people are like vilifying her for that. And there are a lot of people who think Michelle Obama is a man. There are a lot of people. And if you watch the videos and you look at some of the theories, and the number of times that Barack has referred to Michelle as Michael, I have never seen a man do that. I have never seen a man call a woman a name that's a man name, especially a wife. Now, my father called his third wife my mom's name all the time. That had to be a heartbreaker. But he had Alzheimer's. Make of that what you want. But I mean, this lady's entitled to have her own thoughts. And that's what I don't like, is everybody's like, oh, we're black. We have to vote Democrat. The Democrats haven't done shit for you either. And I've seen some very, very corrupt Democrats up close and personal. It doesn't matter. They're the same beast, just different sides. They're giving you the illusion that they're different, but they're not. And you're smart enough to figure it out. I'm just saying, if you believe in this system, I can't help you. I really can't. But if you spend time with a politician and you see who their true character is, you'll get to where I am if you're a good person, because it's really us against them. It's really good people versus bad people. The problem is they've inserted this party line and people believe it's real, but it's not. It's not real at all. There are some awful, awful Democrats, just like there are awful, awful Republicans. There are awful people and there are good people. That's it, period. I hope you have an amazing Tuesday, March 31st. We will be here tomorrow on April Fool's Day, but it won't be no joke. It'll be the real thing. And I appreciate your support. I appreciate you listening. Like, subscribe, share this podcast. If you find value, give me those 5 stars. And let's just grow this podcast. I grew it by 1,000% last year. My goal is to grow it by 1,000% more this year. And I would like to I mentioned Joe Rogan a lot, mainly because he used to have the #1 podcast. And I get it. A lot of people like that, but times are changing. And I think people who have a different opinion, a different viewpoint should have the #1 podcast. And I think that's me. So thank you. Talk to you later.